I'm Gloria Canham, and I'm the Director of Health Services in the Richardson School District. This year, our department and our district are planning to implement a new program called Project SAVE. Project SAVE is a program in which we hope to create a safer environment on our campus for our students and for our faculty so that we can respond appropriately in case there was a sudden cardiac arrest. We are going to enhance our current AED CPR program that we have implemented already, and we're going to raise an awareness of the location and the accessibility of the AED in your campus. We're also going to be able to provide you with information in which we will describe the use of an AED, the purpose of an AED, and also why we would do CPR. We plan to form an emergency response team on every campus. This team will consist of approximately 6 individuals from your campus. It will be led by your school nurse. She will provide a special training for this group of 6 so that we can respond quickly and appropriately in case there was a sudden cardiac arrest on our campus. Training will consist of practice AE drills so that we know that we can respond appropriately should that situation occur. The AE drills this first semester will be held on 4 pilot campuses. The second semester we're going to have an AE drill on every single campus. I want to show you a few programs and presentations right away so that you can see the reasons of why we are interested in forming this emergency response team and also have AE drills on our campus. I would hope that after you see the presentation that you will be encouraged to join the emergency response team with your school nurse on your campus. Thank you.
Every 3 days, we lose a student on school property. It's the #1 death in the United States on school property. And that's according to Centers for Disease Control. And that's a safe number to say 2,000.
About 6 months ago, we had an incident on a football field with a 7th grader who had no indications he had any heart problems, and he was involved in a routine play and got stepped on the chest at the right time, and it stopped his heart.
Vanessa Seal is a coach and teacher for me at Watauga Middle School. She teaches 7th and 8th grade athletics, PE, and health. On April 1st of 2011, April Fool's Day of all days, Vanessa Seal had a sudden cardiac arrest inside of our gym. Vanessa was flat on her stomach, and I rolled her over. At that point, the nurse did an assessment and determined that she was not breathing and did not have a pulse.
And out of the corner of my eye, I saw somebody just drop. And I looked over, and Lewis was face down, motionless, not moving at all. I immediately ran over there. I turned him over. I checked for breathing. I checked any signs of life. He wasn't breathing. I couldn't find a pulse on him.
I had cardiac arrest on March 11th, 2010, and I was just in chemistry, and we just stood up to say the pledge, and I just collapsed.
They said, something's wrong with Sarah. I'm like, what? And just when you get that call, it was from her friend. You know it, the tone of her voice, you know that call. but you don't know what. And she just said her eyes are open and she doesn't see me. And she fell down, and they told me to call her mother. And the first thing they, asked me, they said, "Is she on heart medication?" And I'm like, "No." And I just knew. I knew it was her heart because they were doing CPR. She was on dry land. She was on a staircase. And it was ugly. They said, "We can't save her. She has an enlarged heart. It's called hypertrophic cardiomyopathy. It's what the basketball players die of on the basketball court." And they had me in the room as they were trying to resuscitate her. So she laid there and died on that concrete. And two ladies holding her hand and had all the equipment to save her if they just did CPR and use the AED. And I thought, well, I'm going to dedicate the rest of my life to this cause.
And as the trainer got there, he got the AED set up, and we got him set up on it, and then we used it. And within a split second, he came right back to life. Just like he just woke up and nothing happened. Immediately wanted to get up and wanted to know what was going on, why everybody was looking at him.
Coach King did CPR, and then Nurse Toy used the AED.
I think that the electricity that the AED sent to her heart played a part in saving her life, just with the sheer fact is that the amount of control that was needed to start the heart was not able to be administered by a human being.
Well, it feels great. You know, being the first school to have be part of the Project Atom and have a save is a good feeling. That's what Project Atom's about.
You have got to have a plan. You've got to role play, as uncomfortable as it is. We do 2 AED drills a year in Burville ISD. We've got teams that have been formed that are specialized in who gets the AED, who gets the bag, and who comes to be the first responder.
When it all happened, I just reacted and I knew what to do. I didn't have to think about it. I think that might have played the most important role of it all, was, us coaches being trained and being prepared on the situation.
A plan's real important. If you don't have a plan, you'll have chaos, and chaos could cost a life.
And with CPR alone, your chances of surviving are less than 10%. You add an AED into it, your chances are over 70. I mean, look at that. Do you want a 10% chance of living and then have brain damage because you weren't shocked fast enough with CPR? Or do you want to use the AED and have a 70% chance? I like the 70% odds because it could be you that goes down and you want your life saved. It happens to anyone, at any time, at any place. It does not matter. It is a silent killer. You have no idea when it's going to happen. We have the cure for cardiac arrest, and that's an AED, and you can live a long life, and it's already out there. We have the cure. Why are we not saving these kids? It's not like we have to figure out what the cure is. We have it. It's an AED.
Richardson ISD Health Services presents Project SAVE, responding to children, adolescents, and adults in sudden cardiac arrest. This presentation will show the need to educate and prepare staff to save a life, accomplished by creating an emergency response team on every campus. Sudden cardiac arrest is not a question of if it will happen, but rather when. Sudden cardiac arrest can occur anywhere, anytime, and to anyone. It does not just happen to athletes or even someone who is currently exercising. Let's look at the statistics. Sudden cardiac arrest is the #1 killer of young athletes. It is typically caused by a pre-existing condition which often goes undetected. A Centers for Disease Control study suggests sudden cardiac arrest claims the lives of 2,000 children per year in the U.S. According to the American Academy of Pediatrics, a high school student dies of sudden cardiac arrest as often as every 3 days. In Texas schools alone, 78 students have died from sudden cardiac arrest since 2006. Some of these students were participating in vigorous activities such as playing basketball or football, while others were walking home from school or even just sitting in the classroom. 6 of these 78 deaths in Texas occurred during the spring semester of 2014. So what is sudden cardiac arrest? The American Heart Association defines sudden cardiac arrest as the unexpected loss of heart function when the heart suddenly stops beating due to an irregular rhythm. Breathing stops and loss of consciousness occurs. An underlying cardiac condition, such as an enlarged heart, can contribute to the incident, but in many cases, the cause is unknown. What we know is without appropriate and immediate intervention, the individual only has minutes to live. Sudden cardiac arrest is not a heart attack. A person typically experiences a heart attack because there is a blockage in one or more of the arteries in the heart. On the other hand, sudden cardiac arrest is not caused by something physical, but rather from an electrical malfunction that causes the heart to have an abnormal rhythm. Most people are familiar with the warning signs that precede a heart attack, such as pain in the chest or arm. However, sudden cardiac arrest rarely displays any warning before occurring. With today's technology, most heart attack victims will survive. But when a person experiences sudden cardiac arrest, unless CPR is immediately initiated and an electrical shock such as that from an AED is delivered, death is imminent. Remember, sudden cardiac arrest strikes without warning. The American Heart Association states typically children display no symptoms of underlying cardiac conditions that could be recognized in a routine physical by a pediatrician. So how can we ensure that every campus can respond quickly and appropriately if necessary? Will your campus be prepared? We already take steps to ensure the safety of our students and staff by having routine drills for fires, tornadoes, and lockdowns. We have AEDs and CPR-trained staff in every Richardson ISD building. Today, we are taking the next step by developing staff awareness of sudden cardiac arrest. When an incident occurs, our response is critical. All staff should know where the closest AED is located, how to use it, and respond quickly in an emergency. Do you know how many AEDs your campus has currently and their locations? Your school nurse will inform you after this presentation. Since we never know when or where an incident will occur, it is also important for all staff, not just those who are members of the emergency response team, to realize a person's survival rate increases the sooner CPR is started. Just by performing hands-only CPR, you can help save a life.
If you see a teen or adult suddenly collapse, it's important to act fast. Helping to save a life is easier than you might think. Just start hands-only CPR. The first step is to send someone to call 911 or call 911 yourself. Then get directly over the victim. Put the heel of one hand in the center of the chest. Then put your other hand on top of the first. Then push hard and fast in the center of the chest until help arrives. It's important to push at a rate of at least 100 beats per minute, which is about the same tempo as the song Stayin' Alive. Let's hope you never have to use hands-only CPR, but if you see a teen or adult suddenly collapse, don't be afraid to try it. Remember, call 911, then push hard and fast in the center of the chest until help arrives.
In addition, emergency response teams need to be developed on every campus. These teams will receive training and participate in drills designed to prevent a chaotic response during an emergency. The emergency response team will consist of 6 staff members, including the school nurse. It is preferred for team members to be certified or willing to become certified in CPR. Richardson ISD offers these classes at no cost. Planning and practice for an emergency are necessary for an optimal response. This year, emergency response team members will participate in one drill held after school during the spring semester. Beginning with the 2015-2016 school year, ERT members will have 2 drills per year. During an AED drill, ERT members will respond to a simulated emergency. A CPR mannequin and an AED trainer will be used for practice. Members will perform various responsibilities such as retrieving the AED, performing CPR, and maintaining crowd control. Your school nurse will review the plan with you before the drill, and then lead a debriefing discussion afterward. Each drill should last no longer than 30 minutes, and as a result of your participation, you will be significantly better prepared in the event of an emergency. This is possible. We can save a life.